What's up, guys? Wine Nerd here. Welcome to the Wine Nerd Kitchen. Today we're cooking one of my favorite recipes. This is a Russian dish that my grandmother Solowjow used to make called Piroshki. It is a meat-filled pastry. It has meat and rice in it. It is fried on the stove. We're about to make it. It's going to be freaking awesome. So the first thing I do is I turn the stove on. I've already got it on to the lowest setting possible. On my oven it's 170. Some people get down to 150 and that's fine. Just the lowest setting possible. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut open. I've got 2 packets of the dry active yeast. I'm going to cut those babies open just like this, and I'm going to dump them in my bowl just like that. There they are. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 1 cup of warm milk. So what I'm going to do is get that cup out right here, and I'm going to warm that milk up in the microwave probably for 30-45 seconds until it's just warm. You don't want it hot because hot's not good. You want it just warm. Pour that milk in there, it gets the 1 cup mark, and I'm going to stick it in my microwave for 45 seconds. So once my milk's done heating up in the microwave, I'm going to pull it out. It should be warm to the touch, not hot, which it is. Perfect. I'm going to pour it into my dry active yeast, just like that. And then I'm going to take and stir it up. So the key here is stirring it in this large bowl until the yeast basically dissolves into the milk. All right, so once I have that completely dissolved, now I'm going to take 1 cup of warm water and add it to the mixture. It can't be hot, you want it warm, and you're just trying to dissolve all that yeast in there. And just keep stirring. What I'm going to do is grab some flour. I like to use gold medal flour. It's one of the best flours around, I think, but that's just me. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add about 2 1/4 cups of flour. And so I'm going to come in here and add the flour to it. There's 1. That's about 2 1/4, I think, somewhere around there. And I'm going to stir that in the mix. And what you're trying to do is just make this dough lumpy, almost like pancakes is what you should make. And it's going to be a little bit lumpy, and that's okay. That's the way you want it. Alright, so now that I have it a pancake consistency, I'm going to throw a towel on top of it and throw it in the oven. So it's going to go in the oven for about 20 to 30 minutes, and it's going to allow that dough to rise up, and that's what we're waiting for. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to grab a towel, take a nice clean towel, put it over the top of it, just like that, and I'm going to stick it in the oven. Alright, so the next step in making this is we're going to make our meat mixture and our rice. So first thing we need to do is make our rice. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a nice pot here. We're going to take a cup of rice and dump it in there. And we're going to do 2 cups of water for that rice. And pour that water in there, nice, and there's 1 cup. There's 2 cups. Add a little bit of salt to that. A little bit of garlic salt, because everything I do I like garlic in, which makes it all better with garlic salt there. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to get that on the stove on high until it gets to a rolling boil. This beat is my recital. I think it's very vital. To rock around, that's right on time. It's trick, 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 trick. Here we go. It's trick. Anyway, I think that sounds like that song, but that's okay. Sorry. Once you get that to a rolling boil, we're going to put the cover on top of it and let it sit. Meanwhile, we're going to make our meat mixture. So we're going to let that get to a rolling boil right there. We're going to let that get to a rolling boil right there, and I've got 2 pounds of ground beef. And what we're going to do with this ground beef, I like to buy mine at Costco, and I, of course, always get the organic because I think it's healthier and better for you. I'm going to cut this open, put it in this pan, and we're going to ground up our ground beef and get it going. Get it ready to go. What I'm going to do with this pan is I'm going to get some butter melting on it, and I'll put my onions in there. I have 1 onion that's been chopped up already, pre-chopped, because I didn't figure you guys would want to see me cutting up an onion. So we've got 1 large, as you can tell, onion chopped up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a stick of butter and just put it in the pan. And I'm going to get that pan going pretty warm, not high, but like medium, if you will, just to make sure we get it going good. I'll get that melted on here, and then we will get the onions in that butter, which is going to be amazing. All right, so what we're doing is letting that butter melt down. I'm going to stick my onions in there, just like this. And get those onions cooking. They're gonna be delicious. Just let those maybe simmer until they get kind of a golden brown. And then we're gonna add our meat in there to finish cooking off our meat mixture. All right, so we're getting these onions to brown with lots of butter. I am gonna add a little bit of garlic salt to these. I'm gonna use my little Lowry's garlic salt here. Add a little bit, you don't want to over salt them. A little bit of garlic salt. So then we're gonna wait till they get to a little bit of a brown color, and we're gonna add our meat to cook our meat in. So to speed the process up, while we wait for the rice to cook, we wait for the onions to cook to brown, what we're gonna do now is our dough step 2. So in this process, we're gonna leave this meat right over there. It's already open, ready to go. What I'm gonna do is take my little mixing bowl right here, and I'm gonna do 1 whole egg, which is that guy right there. There's 1 whole egg. Boom, done. And then we're going to do 2 egg yolks. Crack it open. Take the whites out and just do the yolks. All we want is that yolk. Like Dwight, yolk them. There we go. Just like that. Boom. Oh gosh. Oh, we did the wrong thing. Oh, we got a disaster. We got the egg white. Oops. That's okay. It'll be fine. All right, well, I got that mess cleaned up. Here we keep going now. All right, so I've got my 2 whole egg yolks, and we got a little salt. We need some salt. So I'm gonna get my salt going. Well, I don't have the salt out, I don't know, but there we go. A little bit of salt. And 1 heaping teaspoon of sugar. There's my sugar, and we need a heaping teaspoon. Now, most good cooking videos that have this already ready to go, but I don't, so there's 1 big heaping teaspoon of sugar. Let me stir that up right there. Those onions looking good in the neighborhood. All right, now that we got those onions looking good, we're gonna add in our ground beef. Organic Costco ground beef. And no, we're not getting sponsored by Costco. Although, if they want to sponsor me, I'd be glad to have them sponsor me, but they're not. I just like their store. A little bit of ground beef in there. Now, the recipe calls for 1.5 to 2 pounds of ground beef, so that's just what we're gonna do. Rip that baby open and dump her out right there. Woo, look at that. Oh, it's beautiful. Look at that ground beef. Woo. Let this cook down and off the races we go. So we've got our egg in here, we've got our salt, we've got our sugar, and now what we need to do is we need to add 1 cup of warm water to this mixture. All right, our meat mixture is about done. Looks really good. Make sure you cook this meat mixture where it's good, there's no red left, and the ground beef is nice and brown, and the onions are nice and brown. So I'm gonna turn it off. My rice is almost done too. I'm gonna give it 1 more stir. Make sure it's doing good, and it is. So I'm gonna turn the heat off on that for a minute and let it just sit there, just like that. So now it's time to pull the dough out for the first time. So I'm gonna bring it out of the oven, just like this. I'll pull it out, and it has risen quite a bit. It's probably gonna be hard to see in there, but it has risen quite a bit. So now what I'm gonna do, this is the first time the dough's been out. I'm gonna combine my mixture I just told you about, which is 1 whole egg, 2 egg yolks, salt, sugar, warm water, and a tablespoon of mazola oil, and I'm gonna dump it in there, just like that. Now it's gonna water it down a little bit, which is great. I'm gonna stir it up, get it nice and stirred up, just like that, where it's nice and stirred up. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add about 1 cup of flour to it to get it thickened back up again. So I'm gonna dump back in here and thicken this baby back up. 1 cup of flour. Again, it should look kind of like a pancake consistency, just like this. That looks really good. And now I'm gonna put it back in the oven. Again, this time I'm only gonna put it for 10 minutes. So I'm gonna set a timer for 10 minutes. All right, so we got our meat mixture done. It's ready to go. Our rice is done. You can tell the rice looks great, still steaming. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna combine the meat and the rice together, just in 1 big mixture here. Just like this. We'll combine them together. And Now we've got a good rice meat mixture just like that. Now, my grandmother used to put parsley in there. I don't particularly care for parsley, but that's what she used to do. If you want to put parsley in there, you're welcome to. I didn't like parsley, so I leave it out. But now I have a good meat mixture here with meat and rice, and it tastes amazing. Just like that. All right, so our dough's been in the oven for 10 minutes. Now we're going to pull it out. And we're going to, again, it's a little expanded. We're going to add a little more flour to it, about a cup more flour or so. We're going to turn it back into that pancake consistency because it kind of thinned out a little bit as it expanded. So we're going to get a little bit more pancakey in its consistency to get that dough where it should be. So now that we have that ready to go, we're going to stick it with a towel on top, stick it back in the oven for another 10 minutes. All right, so now that it's been there the third time, we're going to pull it out. This will be the step 4 for the dough. We're going to bring it out just like this. And now what we're going to do is we're going to knead it with our hand. So we're going to add a cup of flour, and we're going to knead it with our hand until it is pliable. It doesn't stick to our hands. Just probably a cup or two of flour, I would say, maybe. And you're just going to have to play with it. And it feels weird on your hand. There's no question about that. You don't want to add too much flour to begin with. But a little bit of flour, get it so that it's pliable to your hand, almost like a bread dough, if you will. And that's what we're trying to go for here.
Ready?
All right, so I continue to knead until it becomes a big ball of dough, basically like this, where it's not sticking to my hands anymore. Then you know you're ready to go to the next step. And I'm gonna put it back in the oven again for another 10 minutes, just to let it rise again. But first, I'm gonna go wash my hands. All right, so the dough's in the oven for the 4th time. Now what we're gonna do is powder our work surface with a little bit of flour. And this is kind of the messy part. You gotta kind of get it worked out so that you have a nice clean workspace. Of course, this is a butcher block. You can do it on marble or whatever you want to do it on. It doesn't really matter. But you got to get the powder going so you have it nice and even across your whole work surface. And you can get the duster and the fancy stuff if you want to. I don't need all that. I just have a powdered work surface. And so we're going to wait for that timer to go off now. But in the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to get our oil in our pan so we're ready to fry these babies. The last step is to fry them. We're almost to the end. So what I'm going to do is take 2 containers of Mazola or canola, whatever oil you want to use. I like the canola oil, Mazola, same thing. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to open them up just like this. And I'm going to fill my pan up to about 3/4 of the way full. Now I don't want it full because you have room for the piroshki to go in there, but you want to have it so it's at least 1/2 to 3/4 full. Now, you can bottle this back up and reuse it. I prefer not to do that because I think it's better with fresh oil every time. That's totally up to you. These bottles are only $4 a jar. And to me, it's worth having fresh oil every time. But you could bottle it back up and reuse it a second time if you're going to make these couple batches in a row. But as you can tell, it's a long process, so I doubt you'll do that. But you might. You never know. All right, so now it's been in for the 4th time. It's time to take the dough out. It should have risen almost twice as much as it was before. Let's take it out. We're going to shut off our oven. Pull it out, and it has. Look at that. So we're going to dump this baby out just like this on our floured work surface. Boom, just like that. Look how big it is. Looks beautiful. Take this bowl and move it out of the way. So now what we're going to do is get some flour out here. We're going to knead it again because it needs to be loved. We're just going to knead it as one big piece, and then we're going to let it rise one more time, and then we're going to cut it into quarters so it's 1/4 of the size that it is, and then we're going to start making our actual piroshki. You don't use too much flour, but you got to knead it out a little bit, just like this. A bit more on there. Okay, so we're going to let it sit there just like that. I'm going to cover it back up. I'm going to let it sit for 10 more minutes. And then we're going to make some beautiful piroshki. All right, now our dough is risen for the 5th time. We're going to pull the towel off, and we should have a nice big piece of dough here. So what we're going to do now is cut it into quarters. Cut it in half first, and then cut each half into half. Just like this. I'm going to set it aside just like this. You should have 4 halves. just like this, or 4/4, sorry. And we're gonna throw some dough out. We're gonna just roll it up a little bit more. Now the key is to this is don't get too much flour there. You don't want it to get powdery. You want it to be nice and pliable, and you want it to have a good time. You just don't want it to be too like floury, because it'll get dry and it won't taste right. So you get them just like that. You stick it there. The same thing with this guy here. And we're gonna let it rise one more time now that they're in 4/4, which equals $1 for a full roll of Piroshki. All right, there we go. It's happy. Slap that baby down. Get a little aggressive with it, just like that. Same thing with this guy here. Slap it down. Ooh. We're gonna cover it one last time before we cut it into the Piroshki and make the Piroshki. So let's put the towel on top of it and let's let it rest, just like that. All right, so this is the final stage. We've had them resting for a while. Obviously this one looks the biggest. I'm gonna keep the other ones covered. I'm gonna bring him over here. I'm gonna kind of roll him out a little bit. The goal here is to kind of roll him out a little bit, sprinkle a little bit more flour. This is kind of the messy part of the operation. If you ask my aunt tomorrow or my mom, she'll tell you this is the messy part. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut them in half. I'm gonna cut them in 10 kind of equal pieces. 1, 2, 3. So now I have 5 pieces there. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. 1, 2, 3. Now there's not an art to this. This is just let them sit there and rest. It's fine. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll this out and make some darn good Piroshki. So I'm gonna get a little sprinkle of this stuff right here, just like that. Let's take a little bit bigger piece, kind of smash it out, smash it out. Okay, and what we're gonna do is roll this baby out. Now what you're wanting to get in the end is a piece of dough that kind of looks like this. Now you can see I didn't do enough flour because it's sticking a little bit. You don't want any holes in it, but you want it to look about like that, almost like a pint glass size piece is what you're looking for there. I'm gonna take that and get that piece out of there, just like that. So now what I like to do, I'll take a tablespoon of the meat mixture that we created and dump it right in the center. Now the best thing to do, if it'll work, is to fold it together. If it doesn't work, which a lot of time it doesn't, I'm gonna cheat a little bit and get a bowl of water, cold water, that I can tap around the outside to get it kind of moist, and then apply it together. So I'm gonna do that right now. So what I have here is a bowl of water, small bowl of water. I'm gonna use this so my hands don't get filthy, get a little bit of water, and just basically go around the outside of it just to make it a little bit more pliable. And then what I do is I pinch them together. And the key is to make sure that the dough touches together, because if it doesn't touch together, it doesn't form as one piece, then you have holes in your Piroshki, and we cannot have holy Piroshki. It is not Catholic Piroshki. And then what I'm gonna do is take it. This is what it looks like when it's done. Dumpling like this, and set it right there. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna lather and repeat. Now there's a big one. That's okay. It's okay if it's big. It's fine. We're just gonna have fun with this, and we're gonna roll them out and just put meat in them. This is like a Texas-sized Piroshki is what this is. This is gonna be awesome. I'm gonna put the meat inside there. A little scoop of meat. Like that, a little bit of water, and we're gonna flex it together. Just like that. All right, so as we're making our Piroshki, I've got them keep going. They look about like that, they look amazing. So now I've got my oil in the pan. I'm gonna turn it up to medium high and get that oil going. When you know the oil's done, and I'll show you this in a minute, is when you take some water and you splash in there and it bubbles up, then you know it's done. And I always take one Piroshki, put it in there just to make sure the oil's hot enough. You don't want the oil too hot where it burns it quick, but you want the oil really hot enough where it'll cook it correctly. All right, so now we've got all our Piroshki made, as you can see on the table. It's awesome. How you tell if your water's done, drop a little water in there. Be careful doing it. It should bubble, make that crackling sound. So I'm gonna take these Piroshki, do them one at a time. I'm gonna do a test one first, which is this guy here. I'm gonna drop him down in there. And he should bubble like that, or he's bubbling up. And he's gonna cook real quick. Literally a minute or two on each side, just soak up. Get that popping sounds you should hear. Turn the heat down just a little bit so it doesn't get overcooked. You want it brown on both sides. That's what you're looking for, is brown on both sides. They'll puff up a little bit, which is great. I'll show you that here in a second. And then once it's good on one side, I flip it to the other side, and then I start doing them in batches. I start rolling through them and cooking them at a fast rate. I want to try one first to make sure that it's good though. I can see that browning up on that bottom side over there. It's looking good and brown, so I'm gonna flip the guy over. Just like that. It looks perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and go in with these guys that have been sitting out for a while. The key is to let them sit out for a while. Don't put too many in at one time, because if you do, the oil will cool off too quickly, obviously. And they will soak up the oil, and they will taste very greasy, which you don't want. Piroshki should not be greasy tasting. You dump them in there, just like that. Oh baby, those look good in the neighborhood. Oh girl, get it. I can smell them and they smell delicious. I love some piroshki. This guy is done. When you know it's done, he's brown and crispy and good looking. Dump them in a bowl and off the races you go. That's it. We're just gonna fry the rest of these and then we're gonna try a piroshki. It's gonna be amazing. I can't wait to try it. All right, so now that we've fried our piroshki, this is what they should look like. They're beautiful, a little golden. I'm gonna go ahead and bite into one, see what they taste like, and put that over there. As you pull it open, look at that dough and that beautiful inside of that thing. Ah, steaming is so good. That is good food. Thanks for joining the channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Piroshki are the best. Grandma Solowjow will be proud. До свидания. You can shut up now because now it's getting awkward, but.
Mama, look at Dad didn't go to me, Mama. Today, Mama, как без